host, Marcellus Shepard, the Bassman. Listen, it's been a couple of months now since you and I dined together, so today, lunch is on me. I'm taking you to the crown jewel of restaurants in the Waverly community, Darker Than Blue Cafe, where we have the pleasure of being joined by the executive chef, Casey Jenkins. Welcome to the Baltimore Buzz.
Hey, thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
Pleasure's all mine. So before we talk about your establishment, let's get a little more about your background and let the family know about from whence you've come.
Oh,
so
all right.
Where were you born and how long have you been cooking?
Oh, man, I was born in White Plains, New York, and that's where I was born and raised, and, you know, now Baltimore is my home, though, definitely. Started cooking in the Marine Corps back in 1985, and transitioned from the Marine Corps into the Culinary Institute of America, which is, you know, the premier cooking school in the country. Not a whole lot of African Americans have graduated from there, so it was a blessing to be able to have done that. Worked at some fine restaurants throughout my career. Aquavit's in New York, the Water's Edge in Long Island City, a few restaurants down here in Baltimore. I was the executive chef at the 94th Aero Squadron out in PG. And then I just decided to open my own restaurant, and I knew Baltimore was going to be the place I wanted to do it.
So how long were you in different venues, if you will, before you finally said, you know what, I want to have my own establishment?
I went into, 20 plus years ago, I went into each one of those venues with the idea that I was going to be opening my own restaurant one day. I'm from the kilt of believing that entrepreneurship is always the way to go. If you're going to make your own money, you're going to do it as an entrepreneur. If you're going to be the driving force behind your own career, you're going to do it as an entrepreneur. And you know, I have a passion for cooking and business and restaurants, so I knew I was going to be my own boss one day. Which, if you know me as a boss, wasn't necessarily the best thing all the time. So that's it. That's me.
And at what point in time did you have the opportunity to come right here and open this up?
What I did was, back in '98, my best friend, who was a Morgan alumni, Marquise Walker,
Morgan State.
Morgan Bears. So Mark is a Morgan alumni, and he went down to Morgan. He came down to Morgan, I think, in '87, and just never left. And he never left Baltimore. And so that being my best friend, I said, hey, well, what's going on down there? I did some research, and I said, well, I'm moving out of New York, and I think I'm going to move down to Baltimore. So after I did the research, I saw that this was a phenomenal place to come and open a business. Baltimore has a lot of things that the remainder of the country doesn't have. You can look at it from a standpoint of that there isn't any other Eastern Seaboard, you know, city that offers such a large growth in tourism over the past 10 years that can say that they were one of the final cities for the Olympics. But unfortunately, we didn't get that. The Democratic National Convention, unfortunately, we didn't get that. But it's got growth potential. It's on a national and international scale.
And we just got the Baltimore Grand Prix. So
Grand Prix.
The city definitely is growing. So, Darker Than Blue Cafe. Why Waverly?
Waverly, I'm under the belief that you can do in the African American community. I didn't see a need to go down to the harbor because there were already wonderful restaurants in the harbor. Waverly needed some better restaurants. Not to say there aren't any good ones here already. The Thai restaurant up the street is a phenomenal restaurant. Pete's Grill, which is a phenomenal place. You'll find me there eating breakfast every Friday morning. Okay. But you know, and from an entrepreneur standpoint, you know, let's think of the true definition of an investment. A true definition of an investment is when, you know, your residual supersedes the amount of money that you've put into it. So rent is low here, so it didn't take much.
it all
worked out.
Sense.
Yeah.
So Darker Than Blue Cafe. Let's start with the name, Darker Than Blue.
We People Who Are Darker Than Blue by one of my favorite artists, Curtis Mayfield. My partner, Mark, who walked into the apartment as we were, you know, as I was putting the business plan together. He had just gotten married. We were up late nights putting this business plan together, and we were trying to think of a name. So he goes, we were gotten to the point where we were just going to say, hey, let's just call it restaurant.
Don't do
and
that.
I was like, oh man. So he walks in one day with this big grin that he always has, and he says, I got a name. So he pops in the CD. and I heard the song, and I said, Darker Than Blue. I said, that has got to be the name. He said, that's what I was thinking. And what else could it have been, you know, where we encompass blues, jazz, and, you know, the food of the Low Country and Southern people and us in our community. What else could it have been? Darker Than Blue?
Well, let's go ahead and talk about this food, as you are saying, Low Country cuisine. I know some folks might look at that and say, okay, what exactly is Low Country cuisine?
Low Country cuisine is from South Carolina, North Carolina, and we can go as far over as Creole to Louisiana.
Okay.
You're encompassing a lot of different foods and flavors from, you know, your southern areas. So we have some of the things that one of the things we'll make for you a little later is we have shrimp and grits.
Okay.
And of course we have things like the cornmeal battered catfish with that's offered with grits also. And we have our southern platter, which is a half a fried chicken, candied yams, buttermilk blue mac and cheese, and sauteed baby spinach. So all of those things, what we might call soul food, we call southern also. It's just good down home cooking.
And outside of the food, what else do you guys offer here on a regular basis?
We do live jazz. Okay. We do, and we've had some phenomenal local jazz artists play here. Everyone from Tim Green to Warren Wolf to Shannon Cotman. And you know, when you come into Darker Than Blue, it's the whole effect. It's a whole effect. It's blues, it's jazz, it's food, and it's good company. It's not uncommon to come in and see, you know, the Bassman in here, to see, you know, a few politicians. You know, one of my favorite people that comes through is Sugar Ray Leonard.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's always, you know, he's the one that I was only really excited to take a picture with. Not to say I wasn't excited with all you others.
But you don't see any pictures of he and I in here, so.
Because we get video.
I
But
got you.
when Sugar Ray came through, I was
Right.
all giddy, boy. Oh, that's Sugar Ray. That's right.
Living legend for sure.
That's right.
Well, bruh, talking about this food has definitely made me famished. So how about we go to the kitchen and cook something up?
Let's do it.
All right, family, get ready, get ready, get ready.
Movement. Along with weight loss, it's one of the many ways to fight osteoarthritis pain. For more information on managing pain, go to fightarthritispain.org.
What if a disaster strikes without warning? What if life as you know it has completely turned on its head? What if everything familiar becomes anything but? Before a disaster turns your family's world upside down, it's up to you to be ready. Get a kit, make a plan, be informed today. Learn how at ready.gov.
So here are the keys.
Congratulations, it's officially yours. I'm sure you'll have many happy years here.
Except for you, because you'll be gone 3 years from now, struck down by the same disease that got your father. So you won't be around for them. And sadly, it could have been detected early with a simple test, but you didn't have it. Okay, who wants to check out the backyard?
For a list of tests every man should have, go to ahrq.gov.
All right, family, so now we're in the kitchen where all the magic happens here at Darker Than Blue Cafe. Chef Casey, what are we making?
Today we're making shrimp and grits. Shrimp and grits is one of those low country dishes I was telling you about that people are really starting to take to today. So we're gonna get started on this.
Okay.
And I mean, it's a phenomenal dish. We always have a wonderful time making it. And what we do is we mix a lot of it with, we'll mix it, you can either mix it up a little. We do shrimp and grits or we do catfish and grits. But
Okay.
we're gonna do the shrimp and grits for y'all today.
All right.
First thing we do is we take a little bit of olive oil. And we put a healthy amount of olive oil in there because most people like olive oil, and then we'll add the flavor of the butter afterwards.
Okay.
All right? Now the next thing we're gonna do is
Little garlic.
we're gonna put in some garlic.
All right. Just a smidgen.
All right, now you're gonna hear that garlic start to jump around a little bit in a
Okay.
few moments.
That means it's happy.
And that means it's happy. And that means it's happy and happening.
All right.
All right, so we're gonna let that get hot for a second. You see it starting to move around there?
Yeah, a little sizzle, snap, crackle, and pop.
And when it gets halfway through, what we're going to do is we're going to add the shrimp because we don't want the garlic or the shrimp to overcook because it's really easy to overcook shrimp.
Okay.
So we already have the shrimp, and you always want to make sure the shrimp is deveined. All right? So we're going to let that jump around there.
And how long does it normally take to cook the shrimp?
It normally takes anything from, we'll say, 2 to 3 minutes on a nice saute.
Okay.
And you're going to see everything start to brown, and I'm going to use my tongs here. Once it starts to get, you see that orange color that's starting to form around there? That means it's cooking up.
Okay.
All right, once you get a nice caramelization on there, you're just going to turn it over ever so slightly.
Okay.
See it moving around there?
Yeah.
And we're going to wait till it gets a little bit pinker around the sides.
All the way around. So you're looking for that pink.
Yep. Now that's the color you're
that's
looking
pretty.
for.
That's pretty. And it's only been on there for about a minute or so.
Yeah, and you know, I'll tell you, shrimp can get tough.
Yeah.
So you don't want to overcook it. Now, as it keeps cooking, what we're going to do is we're going to add some of our other flavors to it.
All right.
Now, we use a little bit of the blackening seasoning, which has a little bit of a kick to it. And you want to put that in the pan. And I'm going to put just a little bit more because you want to put that in the pan with the oil because when you're using dry herbs are water soluble.
Okay.
So in other words, they have to be in some type of liquid to really receive that potency to it, to really have that extra kick to it so that it dissolves a little bit more and you get that extra flavor out of it.
So you don't necessarily need to put it directly onto the shrimp, but
Exactly.
just inside of...
You want to put it inside the pan so that it gets in the oil so that it opens up those flavors. All right?
Looking pretty.
Then we're going to hit it with a little bit of salt and pepper. Now we're going to add the butter to it.
And that is a nice healthy heaping of butter there.
Sure is.
Now, is this any particular butter or?
Now, no, we like to use a salted butter.
Okay.
Salted whole butter. All right, and that butter is going to start to melt down a little bit.
Yeah.
All right, now some people like to add cream and things of that nature to their shrimp and grits. Not me. I like the flavor of the butter because everybody likes butter on their grits.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what you're going to get with this. Now what we're going to do is we're going to set that to the side.
Okay.
We're going to hit it with a little bit of sherry. Just a little bit of sherry.
I used to date
You
her
hear it
back in the
sizzling?
day.
And that gives it that little bit of sweetness to it. Then the next thing we're going to do is we're going to get our sauteed spinach going while that sits there for a moment. Now we're going to let the pan get a little bit hotter for the sauteed spinach.
Okay.
All right?
All right, say that line one more time.
Now we're going to let the pan get a little bit hotter for the sauteed spinach because it's going to cook really, really quickly and wilt down on you.
Okay.
So now we're really going to do this sauteed spinach. And you're going to see a little bit of smoke start to rise off of that. And that's what's called smoke point. And once it hits smoke point, we're going to put the garlic in it. We're going to put the spinach in it. It's going to cook for like 30 seconds and be done.
Wow. Nice hot pan, high heat.
High heat.
Shrimp still dancing in the corner.
Yep, that's it.
Okay.
That's it. That's
All
it.
right.
You must be a chef because that's
Hey.
the actual definition of saute. High heat, low oil.
There it is. And a dancing stomach as well.
All right, you can feel that heat starting to come up off of there.
Definitely.
So it's almost ready. And we're gonna take a little bit of garlic. Put that little bit of garlic in there. Now,
like
see?
Pinch and a half.
Now it's just a little bit of garlic. Then we're gonna hit it with the spinach because you don't want your garlic to over brown.
Okay.
We're gonna put that in there.
2 handfuls.
All right. And then that's just gonna wilt down. Now, sometimes what I like to tell people is if you want to add just a little bit of water,
okay,
just a touch, and you're going to hear it sizzle down, and watch how it wilts down quicker.
Ah.
And then, right when it starts to do that, a little bit of salt, pepper.
Right on top.
And it's done.
That is pretty.
And that's it. Your spinach is done. Now, we're going to put this thing together for you.
The grits.
We have our grits that were already made.
Now, what do you put in your grits?
Now, in our grits, we have cheddar cheese, a little bit of Parmesan cheese, salt, pepper, and butter. The 4 food groups here, darker than blue, are salt, butter, heavy cream, what else? And sugar. If you've got 2 of those things in there, oh, you've got a great dish.
Sounds good.
Now, we're going to put this, nice and hot. We're going to put this right over the top. Okay. And I like to put the butter, spread the butter right over the top.
Oh, that is gorgeous.
And then we're going to put our shrimp there.
That is beautiful.
We're going to finish it with our spinach right on top.
Oh, man. Presentation is everything. Good gosh almighty. My. Family, look at that. And it only took all of 5 minutes to make this.
If that, yeah. So we have to be able to get them out quick here at Darker Than Blue because we really do tend to get busy on Friday and Saturday evenings.
One of the signature dishes here at Darker Than Blue, shrimp and grits with some sauteed spinach. I'm gonna call this a Bassman favorite.
A Bassman favorite. As a matter of fact, you'll see that on the menu next time. Bassman favorite.
That sounds like a plan to me. Darker Than Blue Cafe, 3034 Greenmount Avenue. Brother, what's your website so that folks can be able to look you up?
All right, you can look us up at darkerthanbluecafe.com, or you can just give us a call at 443-872-4468. But happy cooking, and, you know, hope to see you down at Darker Than Blue Cafe, where blues and jazz meets great food.
That's what it's all about.
Thank you.
KC Jenkins, executive chef here at Darker Than Blue Cafe. Thank you so much for coming on the Baltimore Buzz.
Thank you very much, sir.
Family, stick around. Dion McConkey coming up to talk about the book festival coming your way as the Bassman gets ready to hop into this right here.
What? Again? You just wore that last week.
That used to be me. I was out of control. I used to talk so loud, even my cell phone had enough. Lucky for me, my fellow riders got me help. It was hard work.
Quiet conversation. Shh.
But now,
Okay, my train is here, okay?
I'm doing my part.
Gotta go, all right? All right, bye.
G-morning, sunshine. Wakey, wakey. Text me. Are your parents home later? We can hang. LUV, love you. JK. Holla back. Holla back. Holla back. Are you with your friends? That's lame. We're in a huge fight right now. XO. What'd you dream about? Something I did. Are you on your way to the mall? I'm lonely. Nude pics. Send me some. Text me.
So my uncle calls and he says he's dizzy and he's losing his balance. I'm like, Unc, you want me to take you to a doctor? He's like, no, I'm gonna look up the symptoms. I said, your symptoms are you're dizzy and you're losing your balance. So he said, I can't get on the internet because my arm is numb. I said, well, use your good arm and dial 911. Stroke's no joke. If you or someone you love is showing symptoms of stroke, don't wait because it might be too late. Dial 911. Time lost is brain lost.
So, do you have any questions?
What is your soup of the day?
We have a mulligatawny soup.
Oh, do you have any specials?
We have a steak special today.
Oh, how's that cooked?
That's pan-seared and then...
Does it come with a side dish? Is it grilled? Can I have it steamed? So, what do you recommend? What kind of pie do you have? You're an actor. Aren't you from Ohio?
Any questions?
Ask questions. For the 10 questions everyone should know, go to AHR.
We're in the heart of historic Mount Vernon Place, home to the Baltimore Book Festival. It celebrates 16 years in 2011 from noon to 8 p.m. on Friday and Saturday and noon to 7 p.m. on Sunday. It's the Mid-Atlantic's premier celebration of the arts. It's truly a unique festival. It's where readers and authors connect. You can come and see your favorite authors like Terry McMillan, Common, Laura Littman, Shirley Strawberry, and many more national authors. It also features local artists right in the region that are writing amazing books and novels.
My name's Michael Olesker. I've been writing in this town for about the last 40 years, and the book festival is wonderful every year because, you know, we live in a time where people say that they're not reading books anymore, but the festival, which brings out tens of thousands of people, reminds us every year that people are still reading and they're still reading books. My book is called The Colts Baltimore, a city and its love affair in the 1950s. It's about the fabled 1958 World Championship game between the Baltimore Colts and the New York Giants for the championship of the National Football League. And I wrote it for Johns Hopkins University Press. I've done several books for them now, and I love working with them because, first of all, they're the local guys. They're the oldest university press in the world. And, you know, they publish these wonderful books about, you know, medicine and physics and really smart stuff, but they also realize that they're a Baltimore firm and they want to have stuff that appeals to Baltimore audiences, which is where my book came in. The 1958 game between the Colts and the Giants has gone down in history as the greatest game ever played. It was the game that really made the National Football League. Those who were there will never forget the game. The Colts were down by 3 points with under 2 minutes to go, and there was John Unitas, cool as could be, in the gathering dusk at Yankee Stadium with the temperature freezing and 65,000 people screaming their lungs out and a national audience looking in. And there he was completing pass after pass, first to Lenny Moore and then 3 in a row to Raymond Berry, and then with 7 seconds left on the clock, Steve Myra coming in and kicking the field goal to send the game into sudden death overtime, which no one had ever seen before. And then, of course, in overtime, Allen, the horse Amici, diving into the end zone and really diving into the American future, which was professional football. At that point, baseball was known as the great American pastime, but from that moment on, football took off, and the Colts were champions that year, and they were champions the next year, and they were just this fabulous football team for the next 15 years or so, and really electrified the American audience. So this book takes us back not only to that game and that team and the great characters who were on that team, but to the Baltimore of that era, and why it was so important that that it wasn't just the football team. It was the fact that they bound a city together, a city that was divided in many ways, including racially. We were at a time where America's public schools had just become racially integrated, and a lot of workplaces were just becoming racially integrated. And a lot of people wondered, can we make this work? And here were the Baltimore Colts, these tough, brawny men, and here was Unitas handing off to Lenny Moore, protected by Jim Parker. Here were the Colts with Big Daddy Lipscomb and Milt Davis and all these great players, black and white, working together. And nobody made speeches about it, but we watched these guys and we said, if they can make it work, so can the rest of us. They were a real role model for the whole city and for the country. And for people of a generation in Baltimore, it is really the most memorable sports event of their lives. To sit at the festival and to have people come up and either to want to buy the book or to say that they've already bought it and read it and that they love it and that it means so much to them to read a book about Baltimore. That just touches my heart in the most profound ways, and it's the same for any writer. We want to know that we're touching people out there and that our efforts have not been in vain. It's a wonderful, wonderful feeling to be at the festival and to have people come up and say, boy, I really liked your work.
The festival offers hands-on workshops, book signings and author appearances, also poetry readings, children's activities, food, and music. The festival has a new website this year. It's redesigned with a new look and more user-friendly. So for more information, visit BaltimoreBookFestival.com.
There is also a very attractive extended warranty option that includes free service and parts for the next 5 years. But there's no need for you to get that. You failed to get the test you needed at the doctor that would have detected disease early enough where it could have been treated. So you won't be around in 2 years to see him grow up, which means the warranty would be useless. Okay, sign here, please.
For a list of tests every man should have, go to ahrq.gov.
Hands can do incredible things. Now they can even help save a life with hands-only CPR. If you see an adult suddenly collapse, just call 911, then push hard and fast in the center of the chest until help arrives. Learn more at handsonlycpr.org.
It's funny how time flies when you're having fun. We're taking you all the way from Waverly to Lake Montebello and down to the Baltimore Book Festival. Truly want to thank all of my guests for coming on the Baltimore Buzz today. Hey, I'm your host, Marcellus Shepard, the Bassman. Check me out Monday through Friday from 2 to 5 p.m. on WEAA 88.9 FM. Time for me to hop into this right here. I'll see you next time, right here on the Baltimore Buzz.
up, stand